Detours, brought to you by Sports and Spokes, the magazine for wheelchair sports and recreation. At the Tokyo Paralympics just 3 years ago, the U.S. women fought to a bronze medal performance over Germany. And as we speak, the prelims are getting underway in Paris. Here to break down the action and give us an insider's perspective, two of the legends in the sport, Darlene Hunter, who co-captained that squad in Tokyo and was recently inducted into NWBA Hall of Fame. She was also a gold medalist in the Rio Paralympics. And Dave Kiley, a man who needs very little introduction, but he's done it all. Scored a gold in Seoul and Barcelona. 2022, he's inducted into the Paralympic Hall of Fame, and recently he's got a book that just came out, Wheelhead. Dave, welcome. Darlene, welcome. How you guys doing?
Yeah, thank you, Bobby.
Yep. Yeah, it's nice to be here. It's always fun to talk with you guys.
Hey, Dave, so just real quick, what do you got going there? I saw some of your manuscript, and I know you're pretty proud of your book, Wheelhead.
Yeah, and I'm in that mode, so bear with me. But yeah, it's available at my website, DaveKileyDK3.com. You can pre-order, and there's a Paralympic special going on right now. For the next 10 days of the games, you can get the book. You can pre-order the book for its release, and it will the shipping will be free. So a little incentive to do it during the games.
Excellent.
But I am really proud. Yeah,
I'm sure you are, and I hope I get a signed copy.
Yeah, it's totally available.
All right, let's get down to the Paralympic action. Let's break it open with the women. So, Darlene, I know you're very familiar with this squad. What's majorly changed with the U.S. squad has been the addition of Christina Schwab, new coach. How has that affected Team USA, and what do you think the expectations will be?
USA, the expectation is we always win gold, right? Like, I think every year we go into Paralympics for wheelchair basketball, we want to win. Christina has been around the game. She's been very supportive of the women's division and the women's building. She, was previous coach at Whitewater women's team. So she has a lot of experience and has built a lot of great relationships with the current Paralympic team.
I want to do a little tiny setup here with Tokyo. On the podium, we had the Netherlands defeating China 51-30. The silver went to China and bronze went to the U.S. over Germany. What I found a little bit peculiar, and maybe you can help us understand this as I was looking through some things, is that in group play, the Netherlands lost to China. China was the only undefeated team going into the finals, and they lost 45-38. Did the Netherlands kind of lay back a little bit, fully expecting that they would play China? What happened there that China went undefeated into the finals?
I think it all just depends on the strategy. We always have like insider information, and I don't know if the Netherlands coach, I don't know if Gert was like, oh, let's play to get this position. I think Netherlands always want to win, so it might have just been an off game for them, because when you come out of pool play, everybody wants to get that first position because it's an easier crossover. So I think it was just probably a bad game for them. I don't necessarily think it was strategy. Netherlands have been dominant. You have Mariska and you have Bo, who are just battling up there. They're both really tall, so it's hard to play against two tall people. And Mariska is extremely fast off of the jump, and so and very powerful. I always laugh because I think it was with you, DK, I think, when I was playing under you, and everybody was like, oh, keep Mariska out. And I was like, she's literally pushing me in laterally. So she's just a really strong player and like can use her body to push you into places. China has a really good shooting team. They're very disciplined. They know where to shoot. And they do a good job getting to their spots. They're also really quick, too, in their low pointer spots.
Hey, Dave, jump in on Mariska. I had an opportunity to interview her and saw a couple of pictures of her online, and good God, she's a freight train. I mean, this woman is, it would be just fear having her come at you. Is she such a deciding factor that she makes the Netherlands a powerhouse all on its own?
Well, she's plenty to build a team around. And and she's been at it a long time now because she came on maybe in 2010, but certainly in London. And when you have a coach like Gert Jan van der Leiden, guiding, directing, and coaching you, and you have that kind of talent, and Mariska has been uh, more than just a strong physical player. She's got big game and big moments, and as U.S. teams find out that she's so big that uh, it's quite difficult to stop her. It's you can't if you let her get near the basket, it she gonna finish. It's just that simple, and keeping her away from the basket is not as simple task. She's got a lot of help with role playing uh, players that will assist her to get inside.
Not that there's any stage of this that will be easy, but Darlene, the U.S. goes up against the Netherlands in the third game of prelim pool play. So you've been out on the floor with the team from Netherlands. What is it about them, and what is it that the U.S. will have to do to cover? And who will be the person principally responsible from the U.S. squad to cover someone as tough as Mariska?
I mean, the team's fast. They're really smart. They've been together as a unit for a very long time, so they know what to do with each other. Yitska in the class one position, she has a great shot. So the positions that you would totally or typically leave somebody from as a class one, she's really strong as a shooter, and she's just really smart play defensively. So they're a solid five. There's not anybody that you can really let off, and they do have their sixth and seventh players coming in rotation are pretty strong as well on the Netherlands. And the fact that Bo and Mariska are just so crafty with their chairs as well, like they can get out and get around you pretty quickly. So the U.S. it's going to have to be a united effort, right? Like it's hard to just say we don't play typically as like one person on people, because in wheelchair basketball, backpicks happen and all sorts of things. So you play as a united front. Rose Hollerman's pretty solid on defense. You got Natalie Snyder and Itzy Exalt Gonzalez, who will be playing in those two big positions up there. Courtney Ryan, Lindsay Zerberg, and Becca Murray. Like Becca Murray is a silent ninja. Like she has an amazing shot from the outside, but she is faster than you think she's going to be, and she's pretty solid on defense. Her chair takes up more space than you think it's going to, so you think you could get around her. But she's silent, and people don't sometimes forget about Becca and her defense, but she's pretty strong as well. So as long as everybody continues to work together and have a solid communication across, that's what you're going to need. Netherlands isn't a team that you can try to one-on-one defense pick up.
We'd like to take a minute to thank our sponsor, Sports and Spokes Magazine. For nearly 50 years, they've produced stories on iconic athletes performing at the top of their game, given generational coverage of sports dating back to the 1970s, and they've shown the way with exciting and timeless magazine cover shots. To stay on top of all the latest news from the world of high-performance adaptive sports, go to sportsandspokes.com. Sports and Spokes, the magazine for wheelchair sports and recreation. So let me go ahead and set up the teams for the team play going into pool. Netherlands, GB, Great Britain, Spain, Germany, USA, Canada, China, Japan. Dave, you've been on the international front many, many times. And it's one thing to be playing ball here in the United States against the same people over and over again, or maybe going up to Canada. But then when you start to stretch it out and you get to the Paralympics, it gets deeper and deeper, and you get into that pool where you don't necessarily know, you can't know every single player and their abilities. Is it tough?
Well, it's yeah, it would have to be tough, but today you can't go in crossing your fingers that everybody. You have got to do your homework, and you have to turn over every stone in order to find out about who you're playing. And let's be real. In an 18 tournament, There is no throwaway game. There is no tune-up game. Every game is the most important game that you will play in the tournament, and any of those eight are suspect to being able to pull off wins or upsets. So uh, due diligence has got to be done, Bob, and maybe it wasn't done so much back in the day, but in today's game, with all the resources and with players coming from Europe that have experience seeing some of those perhaps hidden gems on teams, then they'll filter that back to their program.
So let's talk. You mentioned a number of different players, Darlene, and I heard Rose, and I heard Lindsay, and Exalt, and it's a dynamite team. What's been added besides Christina and the experience that she obviously brings to the table? She played on that 2020 or 2021 squad with you.
Christina did
What
not.
else? She did not.
She stopped in
Okay.
2016.
Okay. So who else has been added to the squad that you feel has shored up the squad, made it a little bit stronger, more powerful, and able to win?
Well, Becca Murray wasn't with us in 2016. Anytime you bring Becca Murray back, like she changes the tables. It was always when you got in really big trouble, you always just threw it to Becca and was like a hope and a prayer, and she hit it every time. She's a machine. She's so great offensively that's somebody that you just can't leave off or miss. And she's gotten in really good shape. She sat out 2020, came back, and she's in amazing shape right now. So she's going to be a force that we didn't have. I missed Becca in 2020. It's always so fun to play with her. She's an amazing teammate. Exalt is a little bit older now. She was the youngest on the team. She's done a lot of hard work at the University of Alabama. She's come off, and she's a lot quicker. And has a lot more confidence. She was the baby of the squad in 2020, so that's going to be great to see her development. She's gotten a lot faster. Emily Oberst this is her first Paralympic. I think she's the only new Paralympian coming on in her first time ever. So she has a great personality, great teammate, and is going to add to the fire of the team. But I mean, you have those returning vets and Rose and Natalie and Becca, who are just going to keep everything moving along well.
And is it that veteran leadership, Dave? Even when we address the men, but with the women as well, is it that veteran leadership that helps keep everybody's head cool and keep everybody moving in the right direction?
Well, at best, Bob. That's what the term veteran really means in the locker room and in practice and on the floor, is that you're keeping tabs on the team as a whole. And Itzy, younger, she I wouldn't consider her a veteran, but that girl can play, man. She was the MVP of the DK3 Venice Beach tournament that Matt Scott and Fly Without Limits hosted in Venice Beach over all the men and voted by her peers. So, and Becca Murray's flat out the best shooter that I've ever seen, men or women. I don't, people are going to take exception to that, but I've never seen a knockdown shooter like her. Now, she leads through example more than she does with words. She's internal. But if she has to tell you something, she will. But veterans, particularly, that's what they're there for. They're there to lead, and they're mixed with young players. You have to have that.
All right, let's talk about some of the other contenders that could be we could be looking at on the podium, and then we're going to go ahead and set the podium. So who are some of the underdogs? What are the other teams that we might expect to see? We talked about some of the bigger, stronger teams that have already produced and performed, the US, China, Netherlands in the last games, and we see the same teams at the top. But who are the other teams that we might want to take a look at?
Canada's going to be a strong force. They have Katie and Erin, we call her Juice. They have both big girls, really good, both of them outside 3-point shooters as well as inside post players. So when you could get your post players to pretty consistently hit those outside shots, it spreads the floor out. they've been together a while. They have Elodie, Rosalie's back, Cindy Olette, that long-term veteran who's going to hold it together. And they have Tara. They have Tara coming back as a class 1, so they have some really solid 5. On paper, their skills are really high. I've seen them come out really well. Sometimes the pressure gets to them. So this, if they all can get on the same page, they're going to be a very powerful force out there. Great shooting team, really aggressive, strong defense. It's just putting all the pieces together for them. So that would be one that I'd watch. We've been watching them for years. We've been watching them since 2012, and before that, they can always come out and surprise you.
They also, those first 2 you mentioned are out of University of Alabama, right?
Katie's just graduated from Illinois a couple of years ago, and Juice was out of Alabama. So they've been taught and have a lot of experience
at the highest level in our own system. So that's where a lot of their foundation has come from.
All right, to the both of you, let's go ahead and be bold. Let's go ahead and set that podium, starting from bronze on up to gold.
It's so hard, Greg, because it's a toss-up depending on what teams you see. I would love to say USA wins gold. I still think Netherlands is that powerhouse for this next quad. I think that they've just been on this path and they have a lot going, but that could be. They've Netherlands and USA played earlier this year and USA beat them. Mariska was having some allergic reactions and so at her best, we'll see how those go up. I think I think US can beat China. We were really close in Tokyo, so I would say US would be silver and China, Canada third. Is that where you kind of put people, DK?
DK?
Yeah, I can't get away from. There's been a lot of experience and adjustment being made, U.S. to Netherlands. I think overall team speed is perhaps in our favor, and that full court pressure package. If Christina goes to that, I think that might be the X factor. So, I'm looking at it. It's a toss up between USA and Netherlands for the gold, but I'm a USA guy, so I'm never going to say no. So, and then between, China's always, they come in somewhat under the radar, and in 2012 at halftime, we're the gold medal favorites. We're down by 20 to China. And so they always have something that you got to be very careful of. We did come back and win, one of the best comebacks of my entire career of seeing. But Canada, as Darlene mentioned, so I don't know how it's going to pan out in the crossover of who plays who, because that's part of it. But I would say right there, USA by a nose over the Netherlands in an upset, and then also almost the same kind of package for Canada and China, for the bronze.
And the USA with Zerby, Courtney, and Becca all together, they're sharpshooters, like that 3-person rotation where they can get 3 solid spots. It's kind of what we did in 2016, where we had just 3 shooters spread out and played really well on the offensive side. So, US has it. They can do it. They're a fast young team. Netherlands, is a little bit taller. So it just really depends on what DK was talking about, boxing out, that speed, who can stop whose chair. And it's going to be grit. It's going to come down to grit in that game.
Yeah.
Well, the action's getting underway right now, pretty much as we speak. The next couple days, prelim play starts. Then we move into the quarterfinals, so we will know soon enough. Thank you to both of you. Valuable insights. Always great to have you both on board.